Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Sorry for the loud noise, I had to turn the fan. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. My name is Sharifa and my poetry name is New Lily. If you're new to the channel, please check out the links located in the description box and comment section. And in both locations, you'll find an identical set of links. Links that lead to videos that talk about what started my targeting in 2020, as well as links that lead to videos that share info about the targeted individual program, info about the technology used on targets, tactics used on targets, and info about the program in general, y'all. Welcome back, y'all. I know I made a video 3 days ago, and it was one that was discussing some gym gang stalking. That's largely what my videos, as far as targeted individual videos go. For the last few months, that's mainly what my videos have been about. There have been a few videos about work here and there. And as y'all know, the pending situation with the day job. So that has stopped completely. But those videos were nothing compared to the gym videos. The main videos, as far as targeting goes, that I've been creating these last few months have been about the gym. And then here and there, every now and then, I've created a video about, some stuff that was happening at work. But I've totally stopped talking about that now, especially with what's happening with work. Like I said, the situation is pending. So that's just completely null and void. Even if I do get my position back in the facility, most I spend my life, I won't be making work videos anymore. It's not an option. But the gym thing, I can still make videos. I've been trying not to do that too. I've been really trying to stay away from those videos as well. But as y'all can see, 3 days ago, I did briefly talk about something that was going on in the gym. And here I am again, y'all, yet again with another gym video. What happens is a large majority of my time is spent in the gym, right? I'm an avid gym goer, and I'm actually an amateur bodybuilder, right? So a lot of my time is spent in the gym. I'm not one of those people that's just going to the gym for like a little 30 minutes to an hour and doing a few little workouts. I'm doing like a hardcore, the reason I'm saying is because I was going to say an intense, and then I ended up saying hardcore. I'm going and I'm doing an intense 2 hours, sometimes 2 hour and change workout whenever I do go to the gym. I've actually now changed the routine. I need to blow my nose, y'all. Let me stop the video and come right back. Y'all, I'm sorry for sounding winded, right, in the last clip, and I might still sound so in this clip. I've caught my breath a little more. But as I was telling you about the gym, I actually just came from the gym not too long ago. About an hour and change ago, I came in from the gym. And as I told you on the last video, I'm extremely dehydrated. Despite my avid workout schedule, I'm not drinking enough water. And it's something I plan to work on. I need to stop planning and do. But I haven't remedied the problem yet, y'all. I even went today and bought organic apple juice and I still didn't get water. I have like a half a gallon in the room there, but I'm not drinking the way I need to. Even in the gym, today I was drinking green tea. But anyway, so that's part of the problem. Also, whenever I make these videos, they tend to turn the hum on, which is an energy weapon. And they use it off and on me. I've talked about the Havana syndrome, energy weapon in prior videos. Check out my videos, y'all, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I think actually one of the video links that's linked in the description box and comment section talks about that machinery. But it's one of those no-touch energy weapons, and they use it off and on me. Like, it's like they'll be using it for a couple months on me, and then they'll stop. And I notice I don't hear it anymore. Then they'll start again. Then they'll stop. And recently, they've been using it again on me ever since I've been kind of off from the day job and the situation's been pending. Like, I notice I've been like an amp up in them using it. And whenever they do use it on me, those periods of time when they are using it on me, that's when I start having like digestive issues. I already have acid reflux. I've had it my whole life. And sometimes they're worse than other. It really just depends on how the stress that I'm under, my diet, etc. So that's playing a part in things too, because I'm eating a lot more due to the bodybuilding and obviously under a lot of stress because of the targeting. But I notice when they are using the hum on me, the energy weapon, my digestive issues are worse. I have shortness of breath. I even have like a cough now, a dry cough, just like a lot of stuff. Like it messes with my throat area. I notice my voice starts to go when they use it on me. So all of that's playing a part in the shortness of breath, y'all. That's happening now. I'm catching myself from getting back from the gym about an hour and change ago. I'm dehydrated. I was just guzzling down some apple juice and they're using the hum on me. So I do apologize if I sound winded in this video, right? The last clip was a lot worse. I listened to it and I really sounded like I was gasping for air as I was speaking. I took the time to catch my breath before coming back on and speaking. So I can tell I still probably sound winded, but I know it's not as bad as the last clip. Y'all hear the noise campaign playing? Anyway, y'all, that's largely why I'm like doing this oregano oil protocol, because I've known about oregano oil for years, since my early 20s. I'm 33 now, y'all, so I've known about it for about a decade and change. But it's not like it's something that I've had as a main staple in my life. I usually just off and on will buy it, like if I'm dealing with an infection, like a cold or, something like that. But I've been taking it, sort of like a dietary supplement, the oregano oil, because if you look at the benefits of oregano oil, it's an anti-inflammatory, an antibacterial, an antimicrobial, and it's good for the cardiovascular system, right? And your blood vessels, etc. It opens up the blood vessels. It's good for your lungs, right? Your respiratory system. It just opens things up. So not only does it fight infection, and help to detox the body, which targets need a lot, right? Because typically our diet isn't the best. Typically we're under a lot of stress, etc., etc. And all that cortisol is going straight to the heart. So if you're a target, I would definitely recommend you be somebody that incorporates oregano oil into your regular routine. But that's why I've been taking it regularly, to help kind of combat the stress and the cortisol and all of those things that affect the cardiovascular system. And then, like I said, I do these intense workouts in the gym. I'm going to get back to what I was saying at the end of the last clip. I haven't forgotten. I do these intense workouts in the gym, and it's good for your cardiovascular system. But in the moment when you're doing the workout, it puts a lot of pressure on your system and on your heart and stuff. That's why they said make sure that your heart is healthy before you do intense weightlifting, right? Because it's really intense. A lot of pressure and stuff goes in that area. And of course, it's strengthening that area. But in the moment, if you're not good in that area, you could be in problems. So I'm oftentimes taking the oregano oil when I'm in the gym and stuff, to just open things up and help me breathe better. And so that's largely why I've been doing it, though, to help combat some of the stress and the cortisol levels and every other aspect of targeting that I'm dealing with that affects that area. And it's really been doing wonders for me. I just had to mention that. Anyways, y'all, I'm hearing talking in the living room and it's going to distract me. So I know I just stopped and came back. Let me let the talking stop. And when I come back, I'm going to finish off where I stopped off in the first clip. Anyways, y'all, so back to where I was at the end of the first clip. So I told you I changed my gym routine. Now that I'm free during the daytime for now, since the day job is pending, and even if I do start working at the facility again, most I willing, this is still going to be my routine. The timing obviously will just change. It'll probably be at nighttime or the evening, however it works. But this is going to remain the routine regardless. But now it's easier for me to maintain it now that I'm free during the daytime. Anyway, a little update, y'all. I also applied to school again. I think I talked about this in one of my recent videos. That kind of what happened with the day job motivated me. Was already planning to do this. Y'all know for months I've been saying I was planning to do this, but I'm not gonna lie, I was procrastinating. I probably wouldn't have really got on it until the end of the year had this situation with the day job not happened. This kind of motivated me to get the ball rolling with going back to school. So I applied to take some prerequisites. What's going on is, y'all, like I said, I talked about this in prior videos. I have my degree in English. Y'all know that. I was a teacher for a number of years. And obviously with the targeting, I had to do a career switch. So this is how I got into the Bureau of Corrections and kind of into law enforcement, which I was already always interested in anyways. There are several career fields that I was interested in and I just didn't know what direction I was going in. One was law. I wanted to be a lawyer. I was even looking at St. Thomas University, a really good law school, on the next street over from the school where I got my bachelor's degree. I wanted to be a psychiatrist. That's something I've been looking at for years, y'all, since my early 20s, specifically an addiction psychiatrist. Anyway, that and then teaching. So it was those three things, and I obviously just went the route of teaching. So anyway, the Most High has his own plans for us, right? So I was thrown a curveball, ended up switching careers, and that's how I ended up in law enforcement. Y'all know what's going on with the day job right now. Things are pending. But even before things are pending, I told y'all that the plan was to work as a corrections officer for some years, right? While working on getting my master's degree. And then eventually I wanted to stay in the career field of law enforcement, but I wanted to switch over to the mental health side of things and become a psychiatrist. So anyways, the recent thing that happened with the job, the pending situation, kind of motivated me to get the ball rolling and apply back to school, because that was what I was supposed to be doing. I even bought the laptop for that reason, and I just kept procrastinating. I have a whole laptop that I bought to do that, and I just didn't do it. I just kept procrastinating. ADD, y'all, in the flesh. Anyway, so just recently I actually spoke to some people from the university here on island. I'm just giving y'all a positive update. It reminded me, when I said that I'm free right now during the daytime because of the pending situation with the day job, it kind of just reminded me that this is going on, and I wanted to update y'all because I'm telling y'all about my life, and day to day, this is kind of like a vlog, a life vlog, this channel, where I keep you up to date on my life as a targeted individual and the positive and negative things that's going on. So this is something positive that's happening. Anyway, so I spoke to someone in administration and admissions, and I was able to find out what it would take for me to get accepted into the graduate program for psychology. And because I have an English degree and I don't have a psychiatry degree, y'all, or a psychology, degree, not psychiatry, psychology degree, I wasn't able to just use that degree and get straight in. You can use any degree, any bachelor's degree, but of course there are certain prerequisites that you have to take in order to get into the master's program. So luckily for me, when I was in the earlier years, general study years, right, the first 2 years of schooling when I was going to community college, my sister and I were actually considering becoming paralegals. So she and I both wanted to be lawyers back in the day, and that was something we were looking into. So a number of my courses that were geared to getting my associate's degree were paralegal study courses. And then eventually we just switched over to general studies and decided to switch what our plan was. But that led to me having some psychology stuff and criminal justice stuff on my transcript. So that kind of helped me out a little bit. So I have all the courses that I need to get into the program, and it was just 3 prerequisites that I was missing. So obviously I'm not going to tell you the 3 prerequisites, but so I have the degree, but I'm missing 3 classes. And so that's what I'm taking care of now. I'm talked to somebody and everything's lined up. I'm signed up for school. I've applied and everything, and I just have to take those 3 prerequisites. And then after I take those 3 prerequisites, I can get into the master's program. So that's something positive that's happening in my life, y'all, that I had to tell you. Something positive and good is happening for me. Anyways, moving on, y'all. So back to what I was saying about the gym in the end of the first clip. So I'm doing this active, avid gym schedule type thing, y'all. And it's to the point, this is what you see on the screen right now. I'm going to show you my new gym regimen. It's to the point now where I'm going every day. So before it would be the split of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I would have a number of workouts that I would try to fit in to my schedule. And it was hard too because I didn't have a car at the time. So I was missing workouts like crazy. Excuse me, y'all. So now that I have a car, and at the moment I'm free during the daytime, even like I said, if I start working during the daytime, this is going to remain the schedule. The timing is just going to change. But anyway, now that I have more time on my hands and I have a vehicle, I've changed the workout routine and I've split the workouts up. So some of the leg workouts I'm doing on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'm considering those to be my more intense leg days because it's more workouts that I do and harder workouts. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have less workouts scheduled, the ones that I always end up missing on my main leg day. And on those days, it's just less intense, those workouts. So I just wanted to show y'all real quick what I do when I go in the gym so you can understand I'm doing intense stuff. It's not no lightweight stuff. I'm doing some hardcore stuff in that gym. And so I'm in there for a number of hours. And so a large portion of my time is spent in the gym. And that's why all these videos are pumping out about gang stalking, because while I'm there, gang stalking activity has been taking place ever since what happened with that guy happened that I've been talking about in these recent videos. Anyways, y'all, let me show y'all my new gym regimen. I almost want to stop the video because they're humming on me like crazy, y'all. And also, I know this is a TMI, but I keep it real with y'all. I'm PMSing. My period's coming. It's due on the 15th, but I think it's going to come early. I'm actually having cramps right now. So I'm feeling winded and ugh. And so I came back on to finish a video and then I just started feeling like, and feel like out of breath and stuff. So I think I'm going to stop the clip and come back and finish once I get myself together. But this is where I'm at, where I'm showing you my new gym regimen and the set of workouts that I have, so you can understand what I mean when I say that I'm an avid gym goer and that I'm in that gym for a while. And this is why there's enough time in the time period that I'm there for gang stalking to take place. And it's a build up too, because it's like this continuous thing. And no matter how much I try to control my reactions, eventually a reaction happens, and then it's like instantly I'm villainized and I'm the villain. This is how the thing works. Anyway, I'm coming back, y'all. I'll be back. Okay, y'all, I'm back to finish. Let me just head over to YouTube. Yeah, y'all, back to finish. Before I finish, I just wanted to make a correction about something I said in the last clip. Excuse me, y'all, gas, sorry. Where I was giving you the positive update about going back to school and stuff. I accidentally said that I always wanted to be a psychiatrist and that my intention was to become a psychiatrist. And I meant to say psychologist. And even when I was talking about becoming an addiction psychiatrist, I meant to say an addiction psychologist. There is a difference between the two, even though they're very closely related. And there was a very brief moment in time when I was considering psychiatry, but I'm more so leaning towards the path of psychology. And what the difference is psychiatry, you're an actual doctor. So you have to go to medical school, etc. And it's a longer process than becoming a psychologist. Now you can get your doctorate's degree in psychology, and so technically you will be a doctor, but you're not going to be an MD or a DO. So you're not going to be a medical doctor. But you can do basically all of the things that a psychiatrist can do if you get your doctorate's degree in psychology, with the exception of prescribing medication. So that's the main difference. But other than that, it's kind of the same, right? So that's what's going on with that, y'all. I was considering psychiatry for a very brief moment, but I didn't feel like going through the whole process of medical school, and definitely not now at the age of 33. I'm not trying to do medical school. It's going to take a number of years, and 4 years are already knocked out. But no, I'm not trying to do that. So I meant to say psychology, and so I just want a psychologist, and so I just wanted to correct that. Next, y'all, I want to just get back to, I'm sorry that I sound distracted. I don't know if you can hear it or if the video's picking up, but there's a bunch of noise and rough campaign going on in the background in the neighborhood. I have no clue why. As y'all can see at the top, it's 7:07 a.m. So I've actually come the next morning to finish the video. So I don't know what's going on, but that's what's creating the distraction, or me sounding distracted. I already have ADD, y'all. Look at the banner. Talk with Sharifa, living with Asperger's and ADD. Those of y'all that are OG subscribers, you already know what's going on here. So yeah, it doesn't take much for me to lose focus. Anyway, so let me get back over to the message area. And the reason I'm here, y'all, is like I said, I'm continuing on where I left off in the last clip, where I was about to show you my new workout regimen. And it's not so new because, like I said, all of these workouts are workouts that have been a part of my regimen, but it's new because I've now split it up in a way where some workouts are being done on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Some are being done on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then some are being done every day. So there are a few workouts that I find important enough to do every day. And those are workouts really that target, not to use that word, but that target areas that I feel need work. Like, for instance, adductors. If you look it up, y'all will see what that is, the adductor machine. You'll see what that workout looks like. But it gets I hate using this word, y'all, but this is what, it targets the inner thigh. And that's the area I feel that needs work in my lower body. My outer thigh, the quads are quadding, they're popping out. But the inner thigh area could use some work. So that's why you see me doing that. You're going to see that workout is on every day. It's on the Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And it's also on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, leg curls. I wouldn't say necessarily that my hamstrings are lacking. Actually, that area is looking pretty good. But that's like a major area when it comes to building your legs and getting that 3D full leg effect. So that's something you want to constantly be trying to work. And my hyperextensions, you'll notice I'm doing every day, and that's because that specifically targets the glute area. So I want to make sure that's a part of my, incorporated into my workouts every day. I wanted at least one glute workout specifically that was a part of every day, my everyday routine, now that I'm doing the workouts every day. So anyways, y'all, let me just go over this real quickly with y'all. So y'all can see it says new gym regimen. And as you can see, this says on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Remember, I told y'all in the last clip that Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I have more workouts planned and it's more intense. So this is going to be more intense than what you're going to see for Tuesdays and Thursdays. Anyway, so the first thing I have is 50 hyperextensions using 25-pound weight, 5 sets of 10 reps. Again, if you're into fitness, you'll know what these workouts look like. If not, and if you are interested, you can look these workouts up yourself to see what that looks like. If this is not interesting to you, y'all can just fast forward this part of the video to the part where I talk about the gang stalking that took place today and why I'm making the video. But again, this is just another positive update. You know, I've been keeping y'all up to date with my workout journey. I've been keeping y'all up to date with my career and school, etc. And then obviously I do also document targeted individual activity. So that's what this video is. It's a medley of everything. It's an update on some of the positive things going on with me, workout, school, etc. And then also just more targeted individual documentation that took place in the gym yesterday. So I'm just quickly going through this part, y'all, and then I'm going to talk about what happened in the gym yesterday. Because, of course, again, I feel like I need to defend myself. And this, like I said, situation with the day job is still pending. And everything I'm doing is being watched. And the slightest thing could cause, you know, whatever for me. So I need to defend myself for sure. So anyways, y'all. So this is still the Monday, Wednesday, Friday routine. So you see the first thing I do is 50 hyperextensions using a 25-pound weight. And that's intense, y'all. 25 pounds doesn't sound heavy, but if you actually try to do the hyperextension workout, you'll feel the pressure on your lower back and what that feels like and the burn in your glutes. And so if you add a 25-pound weight to it, it makes it intense. And, you know, honestly, if you have lower back pain, I wouldn't even recommend you use any weights. You can do it without weight. I used to do it without weight, and I've only now upped the ante and made it a little bit more difficult for myself. To be honest with you, I actually saw a girl in there doing it. And the funny thing is, I believe she was on gang stalking activity that day, but I saw her doing it with the, she even had the army pants on, but I saw her doing it with the 25-pound weight, and that kind of motivated me to try to up the ante because I was doing it with just straight body weight and not using the 25-pound weight. And so I started using it after I saw her doing it, to be honest with you. Anyways, then I have first set of 80 leg extensions. And the reason you see first set is because I do 2 sets of 80 leg extensions. So in total, I'm doing 160 leg extensions when I'm in that gym. But I split it up into two sets. I know this is going to sound confusing because then, of course, within the first set, I have the sets that I break up the actual leg extensions into. But for instance, I have the first set of 80 leg extensions, and then you see 80 at 100 pounds. Hold on, y'all. There's a lot of noise going on the porch. Let me just end the video, let the noise stop, and then I'll come back. All right, y'all, back to finish. So like I was saying, for first set of 80 leg extensions, you see in parentheses, 80 at 100 pounds. So that means each rep that I do is at 100 pounds. I have the machine set to 100 pounds. And that really burns, y'all. That's intense to do that for 80 reps. You know, that's crazy. But anyways, so I do it in sets of 10 reps, right? So the individual set itself of 80 leg extensions, the first one is broken up into 10 sets, right? 10 sets of 8 sets of 10 reps at 100 pounds. And then I do this a second time. But I leave this machine and I go do other stuff, and then I come back and I do that a second time. So you're going to see that later on down the list. And the reason you're seeing green check marks, y'all, is because when I go in the gym, I always copy this text message. I put it in the message box and I erase the green check marks, and I literally check off as I go through to make sure I do every workout. Because if I don't do this, there are times where I just miss sometimes I might miss a workout and I realize after, oh shoot, I forgot to do this. And so that's why I do that. Next, y'all, I do 50 squats on what I call the other squat machine. And I've talked about this in prior videos, y'all. You have the Smith machine, and then you have the other, what I call the other squat machine, which is a squat machine that has, it's structured in a way where you have more support. So you don't have to rely on your balance and good form as much as you do with the Smith machine. What I call the other squat machine, and I don't know what the machine is called, I should find out. With that machine, all you have to do is worry about strength. You're just relying on pure strength to lift the weight. It's not like on the Smith where it's also about form and balance and etc. So anyways, on this machine, I can go a little bit heavier because of that. With the Smith machine, the heaviest that I've gone to is 270 pounds. And right now I just do 250 because I don't want to squat anything that I can't do ass to grass. And I can't do 270 ass to grass. I can only get it to parallel, just barely. But the 250, I can do it ass to grass. And with this machine, I can actually go up to, you're about to see 320 pounds because of, the structure of it. And like I said, not having to worry about balance, etc. Anyway, so I do 50 squats on this machine. And I do 30 at 180 pounds. I do 10 at 270 pounds. And then I do 10 at 320 pounds. And it's every bit of that weight, y'all. It's very heavy. It really is. I even had the gym owner yesterday telling me I was coming down too hard with it, because I try to go all the way down, ass to grass, no matter what machine I'm using when I'm squatting. But because it's so heavy, the weight that I'm doing when I get to like the 270 and the 320, all that pressure's coming down on me. I even had this girl, the same one I told you that I got the 25-pound weight with the hyperextension thing from, and I told you that day she looked like she was on gang stock and stuff, and she had the army pants on. She had kind of made brief conversation with me, and she was telling me she doesn't like this machine, what I call the other squat machine, because she said it hurts her back. And so there's another machine in the back room that's similar to this one where, it gives you support, so you don't have to really worry about support. You just have to worry about strength. She likes using that machine more because she said this one hurts her back. But for me, I find that I like to use this one more. I don't like how that machine feels that she was talking about. But anyways, yeah, so you still feel the weight, even though you have that support and you don't have to worry about balance and stuff, you're still lifting all of that weight. And then really, the pressure comes down on you. So anyways, I do 30 at 180, 10 at 270, and then I do 10 at 320 pounds. And that's the heaviest that I can squat on any machine, 320 pounds. Sorry, y'all. I was just drinking a protein shake. So that's why you're hearing me sound like burpy and like throat, whatever. Anyways, then I do 20 pull-ups, and it says 99 assists because with that pull-up machine, there's something that you can do where you can actually set weight on it so that it can take some of the weight off. So it's not like you're doing like full raw pull-ups. Like if you were to just go on a pull-up bar and pull your body up, there's like this little knee pad that you put your knees on, and you can set the weight so that it takes some of the weight off and assists you. And so I set it to 99 pounds. So really what I'm pulling up is about 100 pounds of weight, 101. Excuse me. No, because I weigh 192 pounds. So I'm actually pulling up about 91 pounds of weight when I use that machine. But it's enough. When you're doing 20 pull-ups, and the way that I do it, I don't go all the way down. I stop halfway and do kind of like what would seem like a half rep because it keeps the muscle in like this stretched position. So it's tearing the muscle more. Anyway, I don't like to do too many upper body workouts because I'm naturally built there. I already explained to you I'm a mesomorph. They're actually trying to low-key with the shadow networking AI software. You know how they send you subliminal messaging with the technology. Trying to throw subs at me. They do this all the time. The two main things they come for with my body is my back, my upper body basically, my back and my shoulders, because I am a mesomorph, but they contradict themselves too. Because I was recently talking about body types. Remember in the last video, because I realized what I'm going to do now, y'all, is make this part 2 to the last video I posted. So this is going to be part 2 targeted individual update. In the part 1 video, y'all will notice I briefly mentioned body types, right? The 3 main body types. You have the ectomorph, the mesomorph, and the endomorph. And I explained to you all that I'm a mesomorph. I'm a mix of body types. You can be a mix of body types. I'm a mesomorph, but I have ectomorph tendencies or qualities, whatever, where I'm what's called a hard gainer. So it's hard for me to gain weight. I have a really fast metabolism. I have to eat a lot, copious amounts of food or eat in a surplus in order to put on muscle mass, and not really to say muscle mass because I'm naturally muscular, hence the reason I'm a mesomorph body type, but bulk build muscle, right? I have longer muscle bellies. And so when you have longer muscle bellies, you have the potential to build a lot of mass, but it's hard to fill it out. You have to do a lot more to fill it out, especially if you have a fast metabolism, like how ectomorphs do. So even though I'm a mesomorph and I have that naturally athletic build and the square shoulders, etc., I have ectomorph qualities where I'm what's called a hard gainer. So it's hard for me to gain weight. It takes longer for me to build my muscles up to a full size, etc., etc. And so I was trying to explain to you all in the part 1 video, people that think they're endomorphs, they think it's more difficult. They think, oh, I have to lose weight and this and that. That's much easier, especially when it comes to bodybuilding, than trying to gain weight and being somebody that has a fast metabolism and having to eat a lot of food, and you deal with a lot of digestive issues. And if you're someone like me that has acid reflux off and on throughout the years, and then you're dealing with targeting and stress, and it really takes a toll on your digestive system. It's not easy. I worked real hard to get to the weight I'm at now. But anyway, so they, because I'm going off on a tangent, they were trying to like tease me about with the technology about my back and my shoulders, but it's kind of a contradiction because constantly they low-key try to insinuate with the technology that I'm an ectomorph rather than a mesomorph. But then they're teasing me about my shoulders and my back, which are the main classic symptom, or I wouldn't say symptom, but characteristic of a mesomorph. You have what's called the square shoulders and the muscular built back. It's naturally built. You don't have to do anything. You just have that, right? And so this, like, you're actually confirming that I'm a mesomorph, but at the same time, low-key trying to bully me. And I can look in the mirror, I see what my body looks like, and I love my body. So there's nothing that they can send to me that will make me feel any other way about myself. It's just a tactic they use to lower your self-esteem. But yeah, that's something they like to come for. But truly, I am built up there naturally. My whole body's built. But up there, I am naturally built as a female. And so I don't try to do too much back and arm and upper body workouts. I really don't. So I just do the 20 pull-ups, and that's the only thing I do for upper body. The only other time my upper body gets activity is when I'm deadlifting, because with the deadlifts, that's a full body workout. I'm deadlifting 250 pounds. So yeah, your legs are, if you're doing the deadlift properly and correctly, your legs is really what should be pulling the weight off the floor. Your arms are literally just used as an anchor to hold the barbell. But your arms are still getting worked too. It's a full body workout, and your back, everything's getting worked. So that's the only time that my upper body gets work, is when I'm doing deadlifts or when I do these 20 assisted pull-ups. Y'all, let me just quickly, I think in the last video, did I do that? Show you a video about ectomorphs, mesomorphs, and endomorphs? I don't think I did. I don't want to get a copyright strike. That's my fear, y'all. I don't want to get a copyright strike. But let me just quickly show y'all a picture on Google, if anything. Y'all see what it says per this classification? There are 3 different body types. Ectomorph. This is when the body is lean and slender and tends to have less body fat and muscle. And also we're called, like I was telling you all, hard gainers. It's hard for us to gain weight, super fast metabolism, etc. I'm not straight ectomorph, and actually I'm more of a mesomorph than I am an ectomorph. But like I said, I have ectomorph qualities. Endomorph, this is when the body has more stored fat, lots of muscle, and gains weight easily. So the endomorphs typically have slow metabolisms, and they have a fuller body. Those people that typically say they're big bone or whatever, and they just naturally have meat on them? That's an endomorph. But you see what it said? They have more muscle. So they can easily put on muscle mass. It's so easy for them to just eat in a caloric deficit so that they can get a leaner body, right? So that they can be the ideal body type that they want to be. They can eat in a caloric deficit to lose and basically shut off the extra or excess pounds that they don't want. And they can pack on muscle very easily. And typically the strongest people you see in the world, like the strong men, like the Brian Shaws of the world, or the Eddie Halls of the world, those men are endomorphs. Typically, you can look this up. If you're into bodybuilding, you'll know this. The strongest bodybuilders out there are typically the endomorph body type. Then you have the mesomorph, which is, like I said, the body type that I am. And this is when the body is athletic and strong. So that's the middle body type. So you're in between the ectomorph and the endomorph. And you're a naturally muscular build. You're not like a super fast metabolism or a slow metabolism. And typically you have like a square shoulder, very square shoulders. That's the classic characteristic of a mesomorph, right? And the built back. That's all characteristics of a mesomorph. But like I said, you could be a mix of body types, and I'm a mix. I'm a mesomorph, but I have ectomorph, unfortunately, qualities. Not to say unfortunately, that's horrible to say, like, because if someone's an ectomorph now, that might be me offending them. Some people will argue aesthetically that people that are ectomorph, straight ectomorph, no mix of mesomorph or anything else, that the ectomorphs, when they actually get into bodybuilding and they take it seriously and they eat the right diet, and they put on muscle mass, some people will argue that they have the most aesthetically appealing body when they actually get the muscle mass on. So I'm not coming for ectomorphs. You know, I'm part ectomorph myself, so it's not like I'm coming for that body type. But I'm saying, unfortunately, I'm mixed with it because it's a hard body type to have when you're into bodybuilding, because we have to do way more to put on muscle mass and to get that aesthetic, right? It's really difficult. I can show you right now, this guy several of them I follow that are ectomorphs on on YouTube and also on Facebook. And the body, if you see the body once they get it together. Let me show you an ectomorph, for instance, one very popular ectomorph. When they get together, they be looking good. Okay, this guy's an ectomorph. This guy started out very skinny. He'll show you pictures if you look at his journey of what he looked like when he was younger versus when he started getting it together. This is an ectomorph. So that person that's super skinny, that really worked hard throughout the years and got his body right.
Panda is natural. Look at his chest area, his muscle.
This video they're talking about is proof that he's natural, because people be arguing that he's on steroids because of those pictures, those before pictures of, you see how lanky and skinny the guy was, right? But he just worked super hard throughout the years. He's one of those really, like, he's very dedicated. He has millions of subscribers, etc. He's up there with Larry Wheels and people like that. And so some people, you know, come at the dude and like make it like he's on steroids and stuff. And he's been arguing for years trying to fight, you know, his genuine, his authenticity, the fact that this is all natural. And so this guy, I guess, is one of those that's fighting for him, a fan of his that's saying, yo, the dude's natural, I guess, trying to show evidence that he's natural. But he came a long way. Dude used to be skinny and lanky, and he worked himself out and really pushed it, and he got himself there. He's a classic ectomorph.
And although you look at his on biceps right there, it's you see the vein there. That means he actually.
So I'm not going to keep on too long because I don't want a copyright strike. This doesn't look like a popular YouTuber, so I don't think I'll get a copyright strike for it. But just in case, I will put the fair use disclaimer at the beginning of the video. I don't think I'll get a copyright strike for this, though. But anyway, this is Simian Panda, man. The dude, like, you know, he used to be... Excuse me. This guy is trying to prove that he's not natural. This guy, he does these videos where he tries to prove whether or not, this guy here that's talking, he tries to prove whether or not people are natural. And I remember seeing this video, and he was one of those that believes that Simian's not natural. Anyway, and steroids, to be honest with you, steroids, if he is on steroids, steroids really could like get you that boost. If you're somebody that's an ectomorph, it would be very tempting to take steroids, because we already have a difficult time, like I said, building muscle mass and stuff like that. And steroids boost the testosterone levels. It's not like it's doing the work for you. You still have to put the work in. You still have to eat the right foods and stuff. But it makes working out easier. It makes you stronger. It gives you more energy, more testosterone. Testosterone is one of the main building blocks of muscles. So it makes it easier to put the muscle on. That struggle that we have to put muscle on, it helps aid that struggle when you take steroids and stuff. But it has so much negative effects, man, and side effects and stuff. So I don't know if he's authentically natural or not. I'm one of those that believes he's natural. But there are a lot of people out there that's arguing a man ain't natural. So that's him there, right? And I believe that guy next to him is an endomorph. So you see the difference? But you see how thick the dude to the next to him looks? Because they put that muscle mass on very easy, them endomorphs. It's very easy for them to build muscle. All they have to do is get the right diet plan and get in a caloric deficit. Anyway, let me get off of this. So anyways, yeah, I went off on a tangent because I was telling y'all about the 20 pull-ups and the fact that I don't work my upper body out more than that. Really just that and the deadlifts. Other than that, I don't do upper body workouts at all because I'm naturally built up there. Anyway, so the next thing, let me try to speed through though, because I don't want the video to be too long, y'all. And I want to get to what the point of the video is, which is talking about the game stalking that took place in the gym yesterday. So let me hurry up and get through, y'all. I just want to quickly show y'all my workout regimen so you can understand what I mean when I tell you I'm in that gym for hours whenever I do go. So anyways, 150 leg adductors in 3 sets of 50 at 132 pounds. And you see I only have 1 set of it, right? I do that every day. You're going to notice I have that for the Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. Because like I told you all, I'm trying to build my inner thighs. My adductors need work. My outer thigh is looking good. It's the inner thigh that's lacking. Second set of 80 leg extensions, right? Remember I told y'all I do 2 sets of the leg extensions. So this is the second set of the 80 leg extensions. The only thing I do different now is instead of doing all 80 reps at 100 pounds, I do 40 at 100 pounds and 40 at 50 pounds for the second set. Then I do 50 leg curls. Remember I told you that's one of those everyday workouts. You're going to see that on the Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. So I do 50 leg curls at 40 pounds. I do 80 leg presses, so I use the leg press machine, y'all. I do 25 at 270 pounds, and I do 55 at 140 pounds. Then I do 80 reverse lunges. This is intense, y'all. This is an isolated single leg workout. I notice when I look at a lot of these guys that, and not just guys, females and bodybuilders that have like the really nice legs and stuff and the full muscles and stuff, and they're able to get like mass on their leg. One of the main things that they promote is you doing single leg workouts. So instead of like, a squat where your both legs are pushing the weight up, or doing the leg extensions where you're using both of your legs because they have single leg extensions as well, you want to try to do workouts like this, lunges and single leg extensions and stuff like that where each leg is getting worked out separately from the other, because that seems to help improve any deficiency that might be in one leg. Like you might have a weakness in your left leg muscle, and the right leg muscle is making up for it and working hard and overcompensating when you're working both legs. And so you might notice that like your right leg muscle is looking bigger than the left leg muscle, and not realizing it's because you don't ever isolate and do single leg workouts. You're always doing these 2 leg workouts. And so there was a weakness in your left leg. And I discovered recently, y'all, I do have a weakness in my right, interestingly enough, my right leg. When I'm doing these single, because I just started doing these, y'all. I used to do lunges last year and I stopped doing them. I now started incorporating reverse lunges again. I don't know why I stopped. And so since I've been doing them, I noticed that when I'm doing the right leg, I feel like a pain in my left hip flexor. And it's more difficult for my right muscle to pull the weight up than it is for my left leg muscle. So I realized I wasn't getting that full benefit whenever I'm doing these leg workouts, all the other workouts where I'm using both legs. I feel like my left leg, was overcompensating for whatever weakness is taking place in the right leg. So it's good to do these single leg workouts so you can know what weaknesses are happening and you can make sure that you're building up your muscles equally. So I've been doing 80 reverse lunges, y'all. I do 40 each leg. And so on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, since I'm doing more of them, I do it at a lighter weight. And so I do it at 70 pounds on the Smith machine, 35 plates on each side. Last thing that I do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays is my Smith machine squats, y'all. That's the real champion. That's like the champion workout. And that's usually when most of the gang stalking takes place in the gym, because I'd be doing some incredible stuff on that Smith machine. And when I say incredible stuff, it's not really that big of a deal, but I'm proud of myself. So I like to big myself up because I'm constantly being torn down in the targeting, and they're constantly coming for my self-esteem and discrediting me and stuff with the technology. So I do like to big myself up sometimes. It's not me being a narcissist. It's me just showing myself self-love and appreciation, because I've been working hard in the gym and I'm doing some pretty incredible stuff on the Smith machine, especially with the squatting where I'm going to 250. There are females that can do it. Of course, there are females that can do it, but it's not common and it's not often that you'll see a female squatting 250 in the gym, unless it's like a powerlifting female. Regular females that go in the gym to work out, they're not typically squatting 250. It's just not happening. It might, but it's rare. And so I just looked it up too. I put the statistic on my Facebook. I put it on my story. Apparently only 1 in every 10,000 females can squat 250 pounds to full depth, the way I'm doing, where I'm going ass to grass. So it's not a common thing, and so I am proud of myself. But typically when I'm on the Smith machine, that's when all the gang stalking is usually happening. It's usually around the Smith machine. I do not know why. I cannot put it together. It's always typically around the Smith machine. It's when the gang stalking activity takes place. I'm telling you. Anyway, so excuse me, y'all. On Smith machine, I do 20 squats at 180 pounds. I do 25 at 140 pounds. I do 3 at 230 pounds, and I do 2 at 250 pounds. And so just know that's very intense when you're on the Smith, because you have to focus on balance. You have to make sure your form is correct. I have longer femurs and muscle bellies, so I am susceptible to poor squat form. And so oftentimes I'm leaning too forward, even despite me looking at myself. I still lean forward sometimes, even to shade me yesterday. They were sending common squat mistakes with the technology. And one of the common squat mistakes is leaning too forward. I'm like, damn, that looks like me. I'm like, that's me. I know I have that issue. That's why I complain when they block me up. You know, one of the gang stalking tactics is purposely like blocking specifically that part of the mirror when there's like this whole huge long mirror and they can go anywhere and do the specific workout that they're doing. And they're coming up and specifically coming directly in front of me and blocking the mirror. And it's just, if it weren't obvious that it were gang stalking, it wouldn't be so annoying, but it's obvious gang stalking. Anyway, so that's what I do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, y'all. Now to Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's a lot less intense. And that's today, actually. Today is Tuesday. I have this workout that I have to do today at the gym. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do more hyperextensions than I do on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, and that's because there are less workouts that I'm doing in general. So I kind of do more of the workout that I tend to do every day. Remember, I told you there are 3 workouts that I do every day. So the hyperextensions, the leg adductors, and the leg curls. The adductors and the leg curls, I keep it at the same amount, no matter what day it is. But with the hyperextensions, I tend to do more on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, since I'm not doing as many workouts. So anyway, I do 80 hyperextensions using a 25-pound weight, 8 sets of 10 reps. I do the 150 leg adductors in 3 sets of 50 at 132 pounds. I do 30 leg ups on ab machine and 20-minute side twirls. That's a new workout I just added in. You know, just kind of trying to work out my core, y'all, and my midsection. Because with the weight gain, remember I told you I've kind of been cheating on the diet and eating junk. I'm trying to get it together now. You know, I have some rice, some basmati rice in here. I haven't been cooking. I've been laying off on the cooking and just kind of feel, you know, when you're targeted and everybody's watching you, you know how annoying it is? You know, like if you are somebody that cooks, when you go in the kitchen, how annoying it is when somebody comes in the kitchen while you're trying to cook? Well, imagine like everybody's watching you while you're trying to cook. It's just annoying. And then the house is being judged. The house is not up to par, you know, because of, you know, I've explained this in prior videos what's going on. You know, we're not keeping it up with it the way we typically do. Everybody's busy. You know, a lot of people are dealing with depression and stuff like that in the house. Just not keeping up with it. You know, it's not as bad as it was. We kind of got it together. And it really hasn't been as bad as some houses I've seen. But it still was bad enough for them to start sending shadow networking and teasing the house, the state of the house, right? So anyway, all of that just be making me feel funny about going in the kitchen to cook. To be honest with you, I haven't cooked in a long time. But now that I'm not working the day job and I'm solely relying on the night check, the check from the night job, you know, I'm like, okay, let me try to save money now. And I've been wanting to do that anyway. You know, I don't want to just spend frivolously just because. That's the stupidest thing ever. I was supposed to do this anyways. I was supposed to stop buying out and eating junk and cooking. So I bought a pack of chicken legs and I made some chicken, some barbecue chicken and some rice and some broccoli. And, you know, just trying to take care of what feels like excess weight, you know, because I do want the weight gain, but I don't want it in the unhealthy way. Because typically when you do that, instead of building protein and muscle mass, you'll also accumulate some fat. Right. And so I want the weight gain to be protein mass and not fat mass. And what's happening with the cheating with the junk, some fat mass has come on, you know, like around the midsection and my face. And so that's where I was kind of just like, let me incorporate some core workouts, because I don't work my abs like that, because you can't spot reduce. Right. There's no such thing as spot reduction. And what that means is if, like, let's say you weigh a certain amount, right, and the fat goes in places you don't want it to go, like let's say your face, your stomach, etc. There's no spot reduction. So if I just start working my stomach out and I don't work on my diet as well, then I'm not going to really see the fat moving from around my midsection. I might start developing some muscle underneath the fat, but it's still going to be there at the end of the day if I don't clean up my diet. And so that's why I was explaining to you, I started changing up my diet now and trying to eat healthier, and I'm working my midsection out. So then anyway, the next thing, y'all, is 100 cable kicks. That's an isolated glute workout that strictly works the glutes. And I keep missing that workout on my regular leg days. So I dedicated Tuesdays and Thursdays to doing this workout. So I'm doing 100 cable kicks, 50 reps each leg at 22 pounds. I'm doing 50 leg curls. Remember I told y'all that's one of the workouts I do every day to work the hamstrings. 40 pounds, same thing like I was doing on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 40 pounds. I haven't started doing this yet. I was supposed to do this on Tuesday. I feel funny about it, y'all. I've said this in several videos. The hip thrusts, from what I've seen from most of the influencers, the workout influencers that I watch, and fitness gurus and those powerlifting girls that have the really nice physique, the main workout that they keep pushing for glute growth is the hip thrust. But it's such a provocative looking workout, y'all. And I'm being watched and judged and critiqued 24/7. Like, I literally see other girls in the gym comfortably doing hip thrusts, but they don't have the whole island watching them. They don't have people constantly throwing the false narrative that they're thirsty at them. So for me, that is the main thing that has stopped me from doing hip thrusts, It's literally just the fact that it's such a provocative looking movement, but it's such an essential movement if you want to build your glutes. And so I don't do it. I keep saying, man, I'm going to do it. Screw what anybody thinks or says. Anybody that works out knows that that's like a main core glute workout and the main workout that's recommended if you want to grow your glutes. Well, I just keep like, I feel awkward about it. And I told you already, most of the gang stalking that I deal with is around the Smith machine. And that's the same area where I'll be doing the hip thrust. So I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I keep putting it off. And it's just been in the routine and I haven't been doing it. So I said, let me throw it on to Tuesdays and Thursdays. I could at least push through and do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays and get some of that in. So I'm supposed to do it. I didn't do it on Tuesday. I might do it today. I'll see how I feel. I might really do it today. But if not today, for sure, next Tuesday, I'm going to start doing it. But I have do at least 50 hip thrusts at 110 pounds, 5 sets of 10 reps. Then the reverse lunges again, y'all. Remember I was telling y'all about the lunges, doing those single leg workouts. I have it here as well. So I'm doing those every day. That's one of those workouts I'm doing every day. I'm doing less on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. Remember y'all saw I was doing 80 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I told you I was doing it at 70 pounds. I'm only doing 50 on Tuesdays and Thursdays because I go heavier. I'm doing it at 110 pounds. So that's pretty heavy for a single leg workout. So I'm doing 50 reverse lunges, 25 each leg. And sometimes I do it in sets of 5. I switch it up while I'm doing it. Sometimes I do sets of 5, sometimes sets of 10 because it's so intense doing that at 110 pounds. But I do 25 each leg using the Smith machine. I use 2 45-pound plates and 2 10-pound plates to equal the 110 pounds. And I do all of the reps for one leg. So I'll do the 25 for one leg in sets, of course, 5 and 10. And then I'll move to the next leg and do it. But yeah, it's intense. I've been feeling it. That's really the main workout that's been making me sore recently. And then lastly, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, y'all, I've decided to do my deadlifts on those days instead of the Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays where I'm doing all that other intense stuff, just to protect my back. And, again, I don't want to work my upper body too much. And though it's mainly a lower body workout, it's a complete body workout, the deadlifts. It really is. So I've moved it to Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I do 20 RDLs, 10 DLs, right? So 30 deadlifts in total, 20 are RDLs, and 10 are just straight deadlifts, not the Romanian. So I do 20 Romanian deadlifts at 90 pounds. I do 5 deadlifts at 230 pounds. And I do 5 deadlifts at 250 pounds. That's it, y'all. That's pretty much it. So let me now end the clip, y'all. Catch my breath. Listen to what I said. And then I'm going to come back and actually talk about what the main reason for this video is, what took place in the gym yesterday. Y'all, back to finish the video. I timed all of those other clips that I made prior to this one, and I'm at about an hour of content. So I'm going to really try to speed up, y'all, so that this video is no longer than an hour and a half. Also, as you guys can see, it's 1:57 p.m. So I do have to get up and get going and get my day started. I was knocked out for most of the day. I didn't intend to sleep all day. That wasn't my intention. I worked last night. I wanted to sleep a little bit, a few hours, but I ended up sleeping the whole day away. Not the whole day away, as y'all can see, there's still quite a bit of day left, but I slept a good chunk of the day away. Anyway, so what happened yesterday in the gym? So if y'all will recall, in part 1 of this video that you see on the screen, targeted individual update, I was telling y'all about some stuff that was happening in the gym and some stuff I felt like they were trying to create. in the gym with the Italian guy. Don't start this video, y'all, if you haven't watched part 1. I should have said that from the beginning, but I didn't really decide until like halfway through the video that I was going to make this be part 2 to the last video. But especially here at this point, if you've reached to this point, I would recommend that you watch the last video before you watch this one. Really, you need to watch all of these recent gym videos I've been making, so you can keep up to date with what's going on, so you'll be familiar with the situations that I'll be referencing here in this video. Anyway, so last video, I was telling y'all about something that happened with the Italian guy and why I think it happened, and then I also briefly mentioned this other guy that they kind of started using as a gang stalker in the gym recently, since I've been going during the daytime. I told you I used to see him last year sometimes, and I really don't know why he's being used. And I told y'all there was this little brief moment with him where, I pulled my mask down and my lip was dry and I went to bite the skin off my lip and he did a bunch of stupidness because he was watching me and gang stalking. Anyway, so those 2 people really is who I talked about in the last video. And I talked about some other stuff too. But as far as the gang stalking goes in the gym, those were the 2 people I talked about. I went to the gym yesterday, y'all, and I purposefully timed it, y'all. And I think what the problem is I'm stupid because I was announcing in my head that I was timing it. I don't know, I felt like if I announced that I was timing it, then they would not do the gang stalking because they would realize, okay, she looked at the time. She timed what time we come. So if she goes at this time and I show up, it's going to be obvious it's gang stalking. I know I don't own the gym, y'all, because I know that's kind of what it would sound like. I feel like I own the gym, and for me to say that if I go at this time slot, you can't come, that's not the thing. It's just that I've actually timed it, y'all. Because of the gang stalking that I deal with, since I've been going during the daytime, I notice certain people go at certain times. And so to avoid conflict and to avoid gang stalking and awkwardness, I timed it purposefully. So that same dude with the bite lip thing that I kind of briefly talked about in the last video, I notice he's usually in the gym, like around, I want to say like 2:50 to 3 o'clock, around that time slot. So I purposely went like around 3:40 yesterday because I noticed that's around the time when he's gone. Like his workout's finished. The Italian guy, I noticed he's an earlier gym goer. Anywhere from like early morning to like, I want to say around 2 o'clock is when he goes. I noticed with the dude, the guy that I call the main guy, he's kind of unpredictable. He'd be there at like all kinds of different times throughout the day. So it's kind of sketchy with him. And it's just kind of like it is what it is if he shows up type thing. But from what I've noticed recently, I noticed as far as the later hours go, he typically doesn't come in from what I've been seeing recently until after 5 o'clock. So I timed it in this way where, okay, if I go at 3:40, it takes me about 2 hours to do my workout, right? So I'll be finished like around 5:40, 5:30-ish. And so for the most part, I'll miss those people that do the gang stalking. I might have like a few minutes with them in the gym, but I miss them for the most part. I timed it, y'all. This is how desperate I am to do my workout in peace. I timed that shit. And my stupid ass, before I went to the gym, I was kind of like in my head, running around doing different stuff, trying to like kill time, basically, because I didn't have that much to do yesterday, but I had a few errands to run. And so I was purposely like avoiding going to the gym until the time that I kind of allotted for myself to go. And as I'm making my errands and runs and stuff, I'm kind of talking to myself in my head. I said, dang, I can't go to the gym yet. I said, don't time this thing, talking to myself in my head. This stupid bad habit I've picked up since the targeting and knowing people are listening to my thoughts and stuff, kind of announcing in my own head like, okay, I know I can't go right now. And I've heard a bird drone in the background going, chirp, chirp, so I don't know if like it was done intentionally where these people now showed up at the time I went just because. I don't know, but I noticed I went yesterday and the same dude I told y'all that's usually there earlier, he literally showed up right as I pulled up. Like I pulled up, all of a sudden I noticed I'm in there. I did a couple workouts. I went outside the gym to spit. I see his truck there all of a sudden. He's inside his truck, like idling in his truck. So I went back inside and I did my workouts on the first half of the gym. And then I went to the second half of the gym. All of a sudden, he's out of the truck and he's in the area by the Smith machine. But at least I think since making the video, he's, I don't know, tried not to be like on top of me as much because I was talking about how annoying it was. Like it seemed like every part of the gym I was going to, he was at doing gang stalking stuff. I noticed he had set up like some stuff, like a phone and stuff in the area right next to the Smith machine. But when I went over there, he moved. And he moved to like this other, like right behind this part of that same part of the gym, but a little bit more behind. And he was behind there on the machine, kind of lingering. So he was still monitoring me, but at least like it didn't feel like he was on top of me, but I still noticed he was in the area. And then also in the area, I noticed this other guy. I've talked about him in other videos as well. One other video. I can't remember which one, y'all. It was one of these recent gym videos where I was talking about his insertion into my targeting and how he started doing stuff. And he didn't even have to be inserted. It's like he inserted his own self into my targeting. Like he interacted with me first and then started just doing stupid stuff. Like I don't even want to go into the details about it with this guy, y'all. I was talking about how I was familiar with his family and some scandal that happened with his sister. And I talked about it in one of these videos, y'all, and what, led to him doing gang stalking stuff to me. I went into the details. Let me see if I can find that video. I can't remember. He was kind of like irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. I talked about him in one video, but he had this big explosion one night. It seemed like theater. He didn't seem like he was really mad, where he acted like he was blocking the mirror and, going off on me. And it really seemed like theater. I can't remember which video it was where I talked about him. Actually, y'all, I believe it was in this part 3, if I'm not mistaken. Part 3, the villainization of the targeted individual and blah, blah, blah. I believe I mentioned him either in this video or targeted individual gang stalking experience. It was one of those 2 videos where I mentioned him. I can't remember which one of those 2 videos. And I was talking about how he got inserted into the targeting. And so after I talked about him, then I had that moment with him that night where he purposely went in front of the mirror and was blocking the mirror. And I politely asked him if he could move to the side, what I typically do when they're doing the gang stalking activity. Because as soon as I hopped on the Smith machine, he walked straight over to the mirror and grabbed dumbbells and blocked the mirror. So I politely walked up to him. At this point, I was in non-reactive mode, and I said, I'm going to stop having these reactions with people in the gym. And so I remember just kind of walking up to him and asking him politely, and I had my earphones in at the time, so my music was blasting. I asked him politely, if he could please move over in the mirror so I could see myself squatting, because he had literally cut me off. I was there first. And so then that's when he started going off and, doing theater. It seemed like theater, the reaction that I got from him. And so I kind of talked about him and his insertion into my gang stalking and some of the prior experiences in the gym I had with him and what I believe led to that. So anyways, ever since then, I notice off and on he'll come in. It doesn't matter what time I come in. He typically was coming at the nighttime. So now I notice all of a sudden I'm going during the daytime, I'm seeing him, right? But when I was going at the night still, right? Because I was doing the day job. So I was typically going like after 5 and stuff. That was when I was seeing him in the gym. But ever since making that video, whenever I do see him, he does like little subtle gang stalking things, like walking back and forth in front of me, going to the bathroom, come out, making the noises, like if my music pauses and my brain starts ticking, making the loud, stupid, annoying noises, stupid little dumb stuff like that. He's done off and on since I've made that video whenever I see him. So since going during the daytime, I notice all of a sudden now I'm seeing him at the time slots I'm going during the daytime. So I'm just like, that's interesting, because I remember I went last time at a different time, and then I went purposely at another time close to that time, but a little later, right? Remember I told you I timed things, still saw him coming in the gym, right? So it's like, I don't own the gym. I understand that. I'm just saying I try to time things to avoid some of these people I've had interactions with at this point, because I just want a comfortable workout. So anyways, whenever I see him, I kind of just feel exasperated because I know that he's going to do some gang stalking stuff. Like literally, he will actually be over there on the other side of the gym. And like, let's say my music stops and my brain starts sticking. He'll start going, like doing stupid crap like that. It's just irritating, man. And it's just like this continuous thing with him. I don't even feel like anything that I did or said about him was offensive. He wasn't even one of those guys that I dissed up. Like some of them that I've had a reaction to the gang stalking they were doing, and I, said mean things in my head about them. He wasn't one of those guys. So I don't even really understand why he'd be going so extra about stuff or doing the extra stuff. So anyways, so I went over to that side of the gym where the Smith machine was, and I noticed both of those dudes were over there in that area. The dude, like I said, that I talked about in the last video, the part 1 video, that was doing that stupid thing when I bit the skin off of my lips, as if I were biting my lips for him. That guy, right? He was over in that area. And also that other dude that I was just telling y'all about that did the theater that night, right? Went in front of the mirror and I politely asked him to move, and then he acted like he was flipping off on me. He did the theater. So both of them are over there, and I knew it was like gang stalking them being in the area at that time, right? As I'm going over there. Especially since, like I said, I timed things, particularly with that dude. With the bite lip thing, where like I said, I was biting the skin off my lip. He literally pulled up in his truck shortly after I showed up. And then as soon as I get over to that area, he's out of the truck all of a sudden. And I definitely timed him. He usually goes earlier, like an hour earlier. So that was definitely gang stalking. The other guy, it's like unpredictable with him. And it could be kind of like this thing, like I can't prove that he's gang stalking, but he usually goes at nighttime. That's when I was seeing him, when I was going at night. When I was still working the day job, all of a sudden I'm seeing him during the daytime. No, I'm going that day. And like I said, whenever I do see him, he does little subtle gang stalking stuff. So I just felt like, oh God. That's how I felt when I saw both of them in that area. It felt like gang stalking. And so I was just like, okay, let me just stay to myself and try to keep the music going so I don't hear any stupidness. So as I'm walking over, I didn't put this song on. I have my playlist going, right? And so I have it on shuffle, and the algorithm chooses what comes on next. So as soon as I'm walking over to the leg press machine, this song came on, Slipping, Falling, Can't Get Up, Slipping, Falling, and that's a song by DMX, y'all. For those of y'all that are millennials, the song might sound familiar, right? I recently put on the playlist. Most of the songs in my playlist, it's songs that they sent to me. Being shady with the AI shadow networking software. They send me stuff with subliminal messaging all the time. And if it's a song that actually sounds good to me, I still entertain it and put it on the playlist. So a lot of the songs on my playlist have sensitization in it, right? But I put on the playlist anyway. So I went and I was on the leg press machine. I was doing my workouts. And as I'm doing my workouts, I noticed a part of the song said something, right, that would kind of seem like a dig at those two guys, what he said. He said something in it about himself, DMX. He said something about himself in that song. He remembers, when he was, I'm not going to say the line, right? But it would kind of apply to those two guys. So I was kind of being a bitch. I was annoyed that the gang stalking was taking place. I was annoyed that I had actually timed it this time and they're still in the area. And that's usually, like I told you, when the gang stalking takes place is when I'm on the Smith machine. So I was irritated because literally the last time I had been in the gym, right? I didn't see that dude, the dude that I talked about in the part 1 video. He did not show up that time. What he did was when I walked into the gym, he came out of the gym as I was walking to the gym, went in his big black truck, and as I was about to walk to get to the door, he pulls up on the sidewalk with the big black truck and blocks me off, pauses, and then he drives off. So I didn't see him in the gym last time. Last time technically was yesterday, y'all, but the time before last, right? So directly after making the part 1 video, the last video y'all see posted, the next time I went to the gym, I had minimal contact with that dude that was doing the stupidness when I bit the lip skin off. He just kind of like blocked me up when I was walking into the gym with his truck, and then he left. I didn't see him in the gym. I did, however, see the other dude, like I told you, that was doing the theater that night, right? He went to the other side of the gym. When I saw him again, I got the exasperated look because I'm used to him doing subtle gang stalking stuff when I see him. I'm like, why am I seeing him at this time now when I remember I was seeing him at nighttime when I was going at night? So I'm just like, what? So anyways, again, I don't own the gym. It's just that I don't want to deal with the subtle gang stalking stuff. And so that's where I'm like, damn, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't care what time you came to the gym. I don't give a rat's ass. I'm focused on me. Anyway, so last time, again, not yesterday when I went, but the time before last, that same guy, not the bite lip guy, I told y'all what he did. He kind of blocked me up on the sidewalk with his truck and then he left. He wasn't there. But that other dude was on the other side of the gym, and every time my music would stop, and I would catch my breath and my brain would start ticking, he would start making the noises on the other side of the gym. The stuff. Just doing stupid stuff. Or he's sitting there, or they're just kind of sitting there, kind of like what they do where they sit on their phone and you could tell they're kind of gang stalking. And they're looking in their phone and not really doing workouts on the machine, except he was on the other side of the gym. At least he wasn't sitting on top of me. I think ever since I talked about it in that video, they don't do that as much. They kind of do it from a distance. And so that irked me too. So I already had this kind of annoyed feeling towards him. And like I said, every time I see him, he's doing little subtle gang stalking stuff. I don't know why. So anyways, so I was annoyed. And when I heard that part of the song that came on, I just decided to put the song on repeat. I already like the vibe anyway. That's one of those songs, you know how DMX is. All his songs are boom, bop, bop, bop. I like those type of songs because it pushes me when I'm in the gym and it makes me go hard. I actually even have a song called Mad Drums. And there's no rapping, there's no singing or anything. It's literally just a boom, where you just hearing somebody playing the drums real hard. And the reason it's called Mad Drums is because that vibration in the song, it's like this aggressive energy in that song, but it's a good workout song. It really pushes you to go hard. And I actually got it from a playlist they sent to me on YouTube called Workout Playlist. So I could see why people would use that for working out. And so oftentimes when I get on the Smith machine, that's the song I will intentionally put on repeat. That's what I have been doing. I don't take shots at people in the gym. Never. Usually I will reply if I'm having a weak moment to gang stalking, but I never take a shot first. But in this moment, this was like one of the first times where I actually, it would seem like, took a shot first. And it's because I knew gang stalking was taking place, especially with that dude with the bite lip thing, right? So, as I heard the part in the song, I'm not going to really specify because then I'll piss off a population of people. Not a population, really. It's not like it's a demographic of people. It's a characteristic about certain guys. And I intentionally, to give you a hint, I talked about this in part 1 with the guy that was doing the stupidness when I bit the skin off my lips and I told you he was not my type for a certain reason. That you could get a hint at what was in the song, what DMX said he remembers when he was, whatever, about himself, right? I don't want to say it exactly, even though it's obvious what I'm talking about, because I try not to say these offensive things. I might get mad at gang stalking from a certain individual and throw a shot at them or an insult, and then it might apply to someone else who's staring at me on these cameras. Remember, I'm being stared at 24/7 and judged critically. And so I finally have a reaction after days and days of gang stalking, and I say whatever diss I say to you, right, or throw whatever shot I throw at you, and then it applies to one of the people or many of the people that's watching, and then those people are glaring at me and, oh, the bitch. Like, that's just how the stupid thing works. That's how this thing works. You just do not, I keep saying this, you do not want to get caught in this damn program. I'm telling you. So anyways, so I don't typically take shots about that specific characteristic ever. And I have even explained in vivid detail in the last video, I explained to you all why that's, something that I don't find appealing in a man, right? Or why that's something, if I am vain about dating someone, that would be the one vain thing that I'm vain about when it comes to dating a man. Everything else, it's really more so about the internal. Yes, I have to be attracted to you. Obviously, I'm not a liar. I'm not going to just date anybody. There has to be a physical attraction there. But it's not really about the external. You don't have to be super buff. You don't have to be like the tallest man in the world. You don't have to be a pretty boy, all this other stuff like that. I do have to have an attraction to you, but the looks really don't matter. I more so care about your personality and the chemistry that we have, because I do have a unique personality. But I was explaining to y'all that there's one vain thing, if I am vain about the outside, that I'm vain about. And so anyway, so he said that in the song. And so I said, let me put this shit on repeat. I put the thing on repeat. And so when I put it on repeat, I noticed I got up. I wasn't purposely working. Like, how when you're doing a workout, you might end up starting another set at a certain part of the song. Like, it's not like I was doing that intentionally at that part of the song, starting my set, as a shot. I just put the song on repeat. When I heard that part, and I already liked the song anyway, it has kind of like this boom bass to it anyway. And it feels like a neutral song that I wouldn't feel awkward about. So I put that on and I laid it there, because again, I had been dealing with gang stalking from those two. And so I put it on repeat. That's all I did. I put the song on repeat. It's not like I intentionally put the song on when I went over there. The song just came out with the algorithm and I put it on repeat. So I noticed when I was done with the leg press machine, I guess this dude that came in, right, with his son, was watching like everyone else from the outside and heard me put that song on repeat and probably heard that part of the song and kind of figured out that, that was like a subliminal jab at those two dudes that were there, that were obviously gang stalking. Like I said, especially the one that I he still was there, like in the area. Anyway, so when I got onto the Smith machine, now all of a sudden this guy walks in. This guy, another dude that I used to see last year, only at a certain time though. He wasn't someone that I was seeing consistently in the gym. I want to say I saw him more towards the beginning of last year when I first started working out in the gym, where I was going at any time, and a lot of the times I was going in the evening, and similar to the time I started going when I was working the day job, before this pending situation that's happening now. That was where I was seeing him more. But now, since things have been, like I said, pending with the day job, I've been working out earlier, as you all know, going to the gym earlier, but I try not to, like I said, go too early because, certain people go earlier that I'm also trying to avoid awkward interactions with. It just sucks, man. I just wish I could go to the gym at any time and not feel awkward or feel like gang stalking is going to happen. But anyway, so purposely kind of timing it where I go at a certain time. And so recently, since I've been going at the certain time I've been going, I noticed in that time period, I've now recently been seeing this guy that I was seeing at the beginning of last year when I first started working out at the gym. He doesn't know this. I already know who he is. Like, not personally. I don't know him personally. But he actually is one of those few guys I saw in there that I actually knew about prior to going in the gym. Not again personally, not no personal anything, but I remember him. He's older than me. Most of those guys in there are. Like, a lot of those guys in there, some of them are like in my age range or even younger. But a good chunk of them, especially the guys that are friends with the dude that I the main, who I call the main guy, the guy that I dissed up and that made things get awkward, the guy that I insulted in my head when he was doing all that gang stalking stuff when I was going to the gym in the morning time before I started working the day job. The reason why things got, the way it is in the gym for me now, a lot of them are like in his age range, from what I can tell, early 40s, late 30s, early 40s. And so this guy I'm talking about now that came in with his son, as soon as I got off of the leg press machine and went over to the Smith machine, he, I believe, is in that age range. And those guys are in the same age range as the cyber stalking, cyberbullying guy. So I believe before I even got in there, I've said this already, some of these dudes were actually familiar with who I was and friends with that guy. I strongly believe so. Him for a fact, though, this guy that came in with his son, I know he's friends with that guy. That's how I know who he is. I don't know him personally, like I said, but I have the memory of an elephant. And back in years ago, when I used to talk to that guy, right, as a friend, I used to see on Facebook, certain interactions and people commenting and stuff. And he even used to come and send me screenshots sometimes of like group chats he was having with friends and stuff. And that guy, I know that guy. I know the guy. That guy was even friends with me back in the day around that time when I was friends with that other guy. So I was already familiar with him. When I came in the gym and I saw him, I already knew who he was. I kind of knew who he was, but obviously it's like I don't know him personally. And he hadn't done anything for me to really say, oh, by the way, I saw a friend of, it wasn't that serious for me. I didn't care, right? So when I first started working out in the gym at the beginning of the last year, he was actually one of those dudes that was coming up to me and helping me use the machines and giving me tips about my form. And he's obviously a personal trainer, but I don't think that's something he does like as a main I don't know really, but I don't think that's something he does as a main job. I think that's like a hobby for him. Whereas, the other guy, the one that I told you all, and, that when I was going in the morning time, was doing the gang stalk and stuff, who I call the main guy that I eventually went off on in my head that created the hostile environment. I don't want to say hostile, but the uncomfortable environment in the gym for me. That guy, he seems more so like that's his main job. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like I said, I've never had a deeper than surface level convo with him. But just from observation and from different times going to the gym, he's one of the main faces I've seen in there. So I believe he's like, that's his main job, is being a personal trainer. Whereas with this other guy I'm talking about now, y'all, that came in with his son when I went to the Smith machine yesterday, I don't think that's his main job. I believe maybe he does something else. Who knows? And like, that's like a little side hobby, him training people. Anyways, I'm familiar with him. I kind of know about him. I don't know him personally, but I kind of knew about him. And I know for a fact that he's friends with the cyberstalk and cyberbullying dude. I knew that from the time I saw him in the gym at the beginning of last year. One of the only faces that really looked familiar where I was like, oh shit, I know that guy. Right? But I didn't say anything. So he was coming up and helping me with the machine, and one of those guys that was doing that, and he wasn't doing the extra stuff really. It's not like he was checking me out and, like some of those other guys that was doing that, he wasn't really doing that. He was one of those guys that had just helped me with the machine and then went about his business. So that was it. He hadn't ever really done any gang stalking stuff, although I knew he knew who I was. And unbeknownst to him, I knew who he was. He even added me on Facebook last year, y'all. So I was just like, okay, he didn't do anything more than that. Quite a few of them guys in the gym added me on Facebook, and it wasn't anything more than that. It's not like they wrote me a message or anything like that. It was just simple, like, send a friend request. So anyways, now the whole year passed last year and I wasn't really seeing him. I changed my gym time. Obviously, he goes at a different time. He's one of those faces I did not see consistently. I had not seen him. All of a sudden recently, like I said, since the day job thing has been happening and I've been kind of switching and playing around with what the perfect time for me to go would be, I start noticing I'm kind of seeing him, right? Off and on. I've seen him a few times since I've gone during the daytime now. And so one of the times recently, about a week or two ago, because at this point now, this is like the second week of me not working the day job. So it's like about a week and a half ago, I was using the leg extension machine, and before he gave me this tip, what I would do was put the back of the leg extension machine, I would put it back, far back, because I had seen some tips on YouTube. I see different stuff, but I saw some guys saying that if you put the seat far back and your quads are extended and you have to stretch out to try to do the rep, that stretch in the quad will actually tear it more. So that's what I was doing, and that's how I've been doing it. And so he saw me, he was looking at me in the mirror, and he came and he said, hey, put the seat up. He said, you need to work on your form. He said, y'all, basically, I'm not saying verbatim what he said, but basically giving me advice about the way I had the seat. So I was just like, okay, I said, well, I saw some videos. I kind of just told him I saw some videos that said that if you do it like this with the seat far back, you get more of a workout, more of a stretch. And he said, no, your form is more important, blah, 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 whatever he said, just give me advice. And so I did listen to him and I put the seat up. And I realized I was feeling it more in my quad. So he gave me authentic advice. And so since he has given me that advice, I have been putting the back of the seat up because I realized he was right. It really was putting more pressure on my quad doing it the way he said. So other than that, I've seen him off and on in the gym, and he's not really done any gang stalking stuff. It's not like some of the other ones that's been kind of participating. I'm sure he has his own personal feelings towards me, especially since I know for a fact that he's friends with the cyber stalking, cyberbullying guy. And I'm sure friends with the other dude that, I went off on in my head that created whatever in the gym for me. But he hasn't really been doing stuff. Whenever I do see him off and on, the few times I've seen him sporadically over the last week and a half, it's kind of just been him training people, and he don't really tell me anything. Sometimes I'll see him watching me, like if I'm squatting really heavy, but other than that, he just kind of like stay to himself, not really doing gang stalking stuff. So now yesterday, all of a sudden, he comes straight over to the Smith machine. As soon as I get to the Smith machine, and he walks under with his son. His son looks young, man. Like, this is a little boy. Like, he looked like anywhere from 3 to 5 years old. Not the kind of child that you're going to bring into the gym around big, heavy weights. Especially not in the area that I was in, where I'm on the Smith machine. He had the kid walking underneath, excuse me, let me use proper grammar, because a kid is a baby goat. He had the child walking underneath the Smith machine where all the heavy weight is stacked up. So I'm like, I knew it was gang stalking automatically. As soon as he walked in, he walks underneath with his son, and then he goes and he claps up and daps up the dude that was in the mirror, right? One of the dudes that obviously the song would be kind of taking a subliminal shot at if you heard that part, that lyric in the song. Now, I wasn't being obvious about the fact, like I said, that I was taking a shot, because I purposely wasn't, like, let's say, starting a rep right when that line was said. I did start doing that after, though. Once I realized that he brought the child in, that was where I really got irritated, because I believe that line might have even applied to him a little bit. This guy I'm talking about, he's not really, I can't really explain it, y'all, without saying it. God, and I just don't want to create problems for myself, and I think I already did. This is another thing that's going to create retribution for me. He's not really, he's like, I can't say this without really, like, just straight up saying what the line was, y'all. What the subliminal shot was. It's obvious anyway. I already talked about this in part 1, and I explained that I, don't have an issue with anyone that does have that characteristic. I explained vividly why that's not a thing for me, why that's not attractive to me. I explained that it actually stems from insecurity within myself, and that's honest, that's real. But I purposely kind of was using it as a dib subliminally yesterday at those two dudes, because I knew they were gang stalking. Anyway, so when he came in, I'm like, first of all, that could kind of apply to him, because he's not super, I don't know how to say this without like saying what it is, y'all. But anyways, it wouldn't directly apply to him, but I could see how it kind of might be offensive. And plus, that's also one of the insults that I threw at the cyber stalking, cyberbullying guy when we met in person, when he took shots at me first. That was actually one of the insults I threw at him, even though it doesn't completely apply to him either. Like, he's actually just above what that line was saying. Him and the dude that walked in with his son, they seem to be around the same, Anyway, so I think he thought I was being a bitch. So he came in with his son, spitefully, I think, because it's just weird. It didn't even look right. Him bringing the little kid into that area, it just didn't look right. It was a dangerous area full of heavy weights, and you have him wandering around the Smith machine and stuff. It's just like accidents happen. I just felt like, oh my God, this is a hazard. So he walks in and immediately goes straight to that dude and dots the dude up hard. So it's like, okay, this is gang stalking. Like, every time since I've seen him in here, he doesn't have the son, and he's not in this area by the Smith machine where I'm at. And how is it that he comes in right when I get on the Smith and dots up that dude who the song kind of was taking a subliminal shot at? So I was just like, okay, I know what this is, and I know why he's coming in here with his child. So anyways, immediately I thought in my head, I said, I understand you want to gang stalk, but let's think about safety and think about your child's well-being. I didn't say this directly, right? Again, my thoughts are being projected with the neuromonitoring technology. I thought this, and that wasn't verbatim what I thought either, but that's like around the line of what I thought, right? So I'm just like, because the kid was wandering, he's too busy flying over to dops up the dude. He's not even focused on the fact that his son was kind of running underneath the Smith machine, and I'm here transferring weights on the Smith machine, and his son is running around the Smith machine. So I said, oh my God, I thought in my head, and I knew it was gang stalking too. I said, I understand you want to gang stalk. I thought this in my head. I said, but please keep an eye on your child. I said, this is a hazard. You have the little baby around here running around the heavy weights. Come on now. So he finally gets a hold of his son and calls his son over, and he starts, the more I start thinking about it being a hazard, it's like the more that agitated him. So he hopped on the leg press machine and acted like he was telling me hi or whatever he was telling me. I couldn't hear him. My music was loud, but I purposely ignored him and acted like I didn't see him, when typically I will say hello back. I'm not a bitch like that. But I knew he was gang stalking. It was irritating to me because that narrative, more than anything else, will bring the bitch out of me. That narrative, because I know what he's doing with bringing the child in. That narrative, more than any other narrative where they're trying to be spiteful in that way. You could call me thirsty. You could call me funky. It's all lies and bullshit. But you could call me whatever you want to call me, right? But the child thing, I keep saying this, that is the one thing where you will bring the bitch out of me. It irritates me to no end when they push that narrative. And then also, too, it's just like I don't like to see hazardous situations for children. I don't like that. He was an adorable little child, excuse me. And you're so busy wanting to gang stalk, you're not even paying attention to what's going on. He's running around the Smith machine while I'm trying to load up heavy ass weight. All of that just irked me so bad. So that's why I was going off in my head about it. So anyways, he act like he waving at me or trying to tell me something. I totally act like I didn't see him. I was so irked and annoyed. And so I continued doing my squats and stuff when I went to under the AC and stuff. And so he starts doing this thing where it's like you start doing little subtle gang stalking stuff. Like first acting like he's teaching the little boy how to do RDLs. Remember Romanian deadlifts, if you look at the workout, is when you bend over, right, to do the workout because you're trying to work out your hamstrings and your glutes. And so you either hold dumbbells or you can hold a barbell and you can do a Romanian deadlift. That pushes this narrative, y'all. This one where you see the video, I talked about this already, y'all. I don't remember if I talked about it in the last video, but I've talked about it in one of these recent videos. Sharing stimuli used to sensitize me. In fact, I do believe I mentioned it in the part 1 to this video as well. I did mention it when I was talking about what that guy, the main guy, who I called the main guy that I insulted in my head when I was going to the gym in the morning time. I told y'all he kept doing like heinous gang stalking stuff, and it was like a buildup, and eventually I went off on him in my head. And then I was showing y'all, one of the things he was doing was making the girls do Romanian deadlifts in front of the Smith machine while I'm squatting. So anyways, I kind of briefly showed y'all this video and went over it with you in part 1. So he was doing this kind of sensitization here, and I told y'all what created this. When I was staying in my car in Florida, etc., etc., I told y'all what happened, right? So check that video out. Please check it out because it knocks that bullshit down. But they still use it sometimes to be spiteful when they really want to get low, right? Mind you again, y'all, this was my first time experiencing gang stalking activity with this guy. So I knew he knew who I was. I've already known. Everyone knows who I am. I'm a target. But I mean specifically him. I know he's familiar with me and the cyberbullying guy because I remember him. But he's never done anything overtly that seemed like gang stalking at all. So this was the first time I was experiencing that from him. And I think the more I acted out about it in my head, the more mean he got about it too, because I was just irritated. Once you bring the child in, it's like it's all bets are off. That just really, you get the nastiest part of me at that point. And you could tell, like I said, it was gang stalking. It's just not an area where you would bring a child. It's just not. So anyways, he started doing that, like he's doing Romanian deadlifts with the child by the leg press machine, right? Randomly. Then another thing he started to do was making the child record him. Like purposely, he gave the child the phone and has the child recording him doing the leg press. So again, trying to be spiteful and push the false narrative. Because remember with the targeting, you're on camera 24/7. And so that's how the thing works, and it can actually frame an individual. Because if you have an anxious response to sensitization, etc., or an angry response or reaction, they record that shit and they use it and they hold on to it and they spread it around to new people. And this is how they recruit new gang stalkers. And this is how it turns into this perpetual cycle of targeting. So they've have me on record having anxious reactions to sensitization, that bend over thing. If you check out the video, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And then they also have me on camera, more so with this latter part here, having angry reactions. So a lot of these angry reactions I've had has been saved, recorded, and utilized to propel the targeting. So anyway, whenever they start pulling out the camera, and let me tell you who started doing that dumb shit. It was the same main dude that I insulted in my head that was going to the gym in the morning time with me. He started that. I'm pulling out the camera and acting like he's recording stuff. And it's a double thing too. It's not just them acting like they're recording, as like a shot at me to say you've been on camera, with these reactions. But it's also a double shot too, because remember last year, I was taking my camera and I was recording myself when I was squatting 270 pounds on a Smith machine. So that's kind of a way to antagonize me as well. Because with the main dude, when he was doing it, he was recording, them doing a lift. And the lift wasn't even, not to sound like a bitch, it wasn't that impressive. It wasn't the kind of lift that you're going to record. It was obvious gang stalking, and it was being done right in front of me while I was using the Smith machine. So it was kind of like this thing just to antagonize me about recording myself, squatting the 270 last year. But then also a double shot again, because also pushing the fact that, oh, you were on camera having this anxious reaction to this sensitization, or you were on camera having this nasty reaction, you've been recorded, that kind of way. So he just started getting gnarly with the gang stalking. And so I was getting nasty with my words too. I was careful though. Typically I start dissing up the person. Like, that's me of old, having these stupid ass reactions, getting angry at what's happening. And I'll start insulting the person, especially if you start coming with the narrative of me smelling bad or the child thing. That's when I get real nasty and all bets are off and I start saying anything about you. And I can get really nasty with my mouth. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm really good with my words. Y'all know I like to write and stuff. I can get real nasty and reckless with my mouth. And again, it's not physically coming out of my mouth. But with the technology and the neuromonitoring, it's technological telepathy. So they can hear my thoughts. I might as well just say it out loud, the things I'm thinking. So anyway, I've been controlling myself, especially with what's happening with the day job. Several times, several coworkers in there hinted to me that a lot of the stuff that was happening in there had to do with people thinking I was a bitch. I had several coworkers hint that to me. So I've, like I said, been trying to control that as the situation is pending, and I'm trying to either get my job back or at least be given the opportunity to resign so that I can pursue another opportunity with law enforcement. I applied to become a police officer, so I'm gonna see what happens, right? Anyways, and it's only fair too, because I'm trying not to talk about the day job like that, y'all, but I was really actively, constantly, when I was under officers, asking them, is there anything I can do to help you right now? They say, no, not at the moment. Then they go on the computer. So then I sit there awkwardly, and that was what led to the drawing. The main reason I bought the coloring book was because some of the officers, when I would ask them questions about the job, they would act like I was annoying them and like my breath stunk. And I'm wearing a mask, mind you, and I was brushing my teeth really well. But that was just perpetuation of one of the false narratives about me. I guess because they thought I was a bitch. So holding their head like my breath is so bad it's giving them a headache and pinching nose. And so I eventually bought a coloring book and I isolated off into a corner and I said, okay, we're both going to get through this awkward part of me being a targeted cadet. I'll stay out the way and I'll color in this little corner until it's time for me to go to academy. And then when I get back, I'll get my own role. And so it kind of turned into this thing where recently, I told y'all what happened with that. I don't really want to talk about it right now. I'm trying not to talk about the day job. But the reason I mentioned it is because, like I said, part of what took place, largely what took place in there, had to do with people thinking I was a bitch. Just so you know. It was hinted to me by several coworkers. So anyways, I've been trying to control my reactions since I've been in this kind of situation where things are in the air and I don't know what's going to happen with the situation. I've been trying so hard not to have these reactions. And actually, before what took place with the day job even took place, I was already working on these reactions because I realized it was causing a lot of trouble and problems for me, having these reactions to gang stalking that was taking place in the gym. This is the first time, yesterday I would say, the first time where something direct wasn't done to me and I had a reaction. It was more so like a residual reaction that I had. So it's more so like these two guys that had been doing gang stalking stuff are in the area when I go over to the Smith, and I feel exasperated about it. And so the song that I was playing, I didn't put it on, it was on already, just happens to have a line in it that kind of took a dig at them, and so I put the song on repeat. That is the first time I would say that it would seem like I took a shot first. The first time, every time it's them messing with me first. It's somebody doing gang stalking stuff and me reacting. So this was more like a residual reaction, and it wasn't a direct reaction either. It's not like I glared at them, or started doing crazy shit or thinking mean stuff. It was more so like the song was already on, and I heard that line, and plus I really do like the song. And I said, okay, let me put this shit on repeat, because I knew some gang stalking stuff would likely happen, especially with that one that had the shades on that was in the mirror. Anytime my brain ticks and my music stops, he's going and doing extra stuff. So anyways, that's the first time, I'm telling you, especially since I've been out of work, and trying to kind of hold it down. But even before the thing at the job happened, I'm never the one that does stuff first. Never. It's always a reaction. So anyways, that dude couldn't wait to fly in and I guess participate, just to tell you he had feelings towards me, most of them do. I'm telling you, even ones that don't participate, it's just this thing. It's just a subjective thing because they're all friends in there and I'm the target and I'm the one having these reactions and I'm in their eyes the villain. So anyways, I was just thinking these thoughts and that basically about him, his parenting, really. It wasn't more so me insulting him or his looks or anything like that, like me of typical would do, where I start getting real nasty with it because I'm offended by what's going on. I was more so just insulting the fact that he had this child in the area where it was dangerous, and the child kind of running around loosely. Eventually you got a clamp on him and kept him in the corner by him. But that was mainly the insults I was throwing. I was just like, come on, doodle brain. Like, I think that's the meanest thing I said was doodle brain. Or I called his ass bony too, because eventually he got up from the leg press after he had the little boy recording him and stuff. And he purposely blocks the mirror right in front of the mirror where I'm doing my workouts, because I actually was coming off of it. I did my Smith squats and I was about to leave. And so as I was about to leave, I thought that was my last workout. He told me something. I had my music playing so I couldn't hear him, but he put his hand up like this, and it seemed to me like he was asking me if I was done with the machine after he had been doing all this stuff, had his kid doing the RDLs and all the extra stuff and the recording and this and that. I still answered him. He kind of signaled at the machine, and so I thought he was asking me if I was done with the machine. I couldn't hear him, and this is where misunderstandings happen too sometimes, because I think I'm being a bitch, but really I just can't hear you. My music is blasting and I know they can hear what's going on in my head. So I don't know why you can't tell that I can't hear what you're saying. So anyway, he's pointing at the machine and doing something. So I figured he was asking me if I was done with the machine. So I said, yes, I'm done. And I continued to put the weights up. I noticed he's still looking at me and signaling and doing stuff. So I said, yes, I'm done. And so he still continues to do stuff and staring at me. So I took the earphones off. I said, yes, I said, I'm done with the machine. And he said, can you leave the weights on? And I said, oh, you want me to leave the weights on? I said, sure, no problem. Right? So I went to put the weight back on for him, and I sat down comfortably. I said, I'm not going to run up out of here because stupidness is happening. I'm at this point kind of used to little subtle things. It got a little better. Since I made the last video and I was kind of talking about, how things got bad in there, and it doesn't matter what I do, it's like they're just kind of on top of me. It got a little better. Still subtle things, like I said, but a little better. Not as bad as like a guy following me around and sitting and staring in their phone and stuff. It got a little better, but still subtle things, right? So I think they'd just be waiting for me to do anything. So as soon as just me putting the song on repeat happened, nothing else, this guy flies in with his kid, and the gang stalking ensues, right? So anyways, I said I'm not running out of there. I'm done with the Smith. The guy asked me to leave the weights on, sure. I sit down right there next to the Smith. I start putting my shoes on, because I take my shoes off when I'm in the Smith area so I can squat and use the leg press and stuff. It's more comfortable for me. So as I'm going through my checklist, remember I told you I go through my checklist and make sure I don't miss any workouts. I realized I had missed my reverse lunges. So I took my earphones off and I told the guy, I said, hey, I actually need to do one more workout on this thing. I said, I forgot to do my reverse lunges. So he said, okay, no problem. So I took the weight off and I put on the 35 pounds. I went to do my reverse lunges, my last workout in there. He gets up from the leg press machine area and he walks directly in front of the mirror and purposely starts doing Romanian deadlifts right in front of the mirror. While I'm using the Smith machine, starts doing Romanian deadlifts. So I'm just like, oh boy, so I'm like, okay, so now I have to see his bony ass. I did think this thought in my head. That was the only insult. I'm like, now I have to see his bony ass while I'm squatting, because he's, like I said, doing the Romanian deadlifts right in my direct line of vision. So every time I'm squatting down, similar to what was happening when I was going to the gym in the morning time, and the main guy that I insulted started doing gang stalking stuff, it wasn't as bad because at least he wasn't directly in front of the Smith machine like what that dude was doing with those girls. But he was in my line of vision. He was blocking the mirror. So that's annoying enough. But I don't really need the mirror to do my reverse lunges. So I just ignored it. I don't need the mirror to do those. It's the squatting that I need the mirror for. So I was just like, okay, I'll just ignore it to do my reverse lunges. But then he starts doing the Romanian deadlifts to be spiteful. And so I'm eye level with his behind. And so this is why I made the comment, I'm like, oh God, now I gotta see this man's bony ass, bony behind. And so every time I finish my set, I put the weight up and I go underneath the AC and catch my breath and I come back. So after I thought that thought, I noticed he just stands in the line of the mirror, still blocking my vision. He stopped doing the Romanian deadlifts and instead turns and faces me. So now awkwardly, while I'm doing my reverse lunges, I have to be kind of like, dealing with him in my direct line of vision, staring at me. You know how uncomfortable that feels? So I said, oh God, now he's facing me. These are all things I'm thinking, y'all. I'm not saying out loud, but they're hearing my thoughts. I said, God, now he's facing me. It was just like a nightmare. I'm just like, what is going on? And so that was it though, y'all. That was pretty much what happened with him. The only insult I threw was about his parenting. I said doodle brain. I said he's acting like a doodle brain. I said, I know you want to gang stalk or whatever, but this is not an environment where you would bring a child, especially one that's that young, and have him kind of wandering around and running about the place while heavy weights are being handled. This is not a good idea. I understand you want to gang stalk, but come on, do better. And so these are the things I was thinking in my head about him. And then the only insult I really threw at him, aside from, the parenting thing, was about his ass, because he was doing the Romanian deadlifts in my line of vision. And I was really seeing a bony ass, as I'm doing this. It just was irritating to me. And it's not to say like he's bony. He's fit. He's a personal trainer, so he took care of himself. It's not like he looks bad or anything, but, he's doing the rope. And I'm like, all I could think was bony ass. That's all I could think. It's eye level with this sight that I don't want to see. And so I did think that. And then the other thing I thought in my head, because of course they inserted, anytime any gang stalking stuff is happening in there, this dude appears all of a sudden. The main dude that made things kind of get weird in there for me in the first place, that I insulted in my head in the morning time, y'all. He had actually been in there, right? He came in. This is why I was like, come on, why is he coming in here this early? I don't own the gym. I get it. Remember, I told you I timed things though, and I've been observing things. From my observation, he doesn't typically come in until after 5. He's coming in like 4:11, 4:12 while I'm on the leg extension machine. He came in shortly after the other dude that was doing the theater that night, y'all, that was blocking the mirror and went off on me, that I kind of told you to be doing off and on subtle gang stalking stuff, that the song was kind of taking a dab at. Him and, the other dude with the bite lip thing, they were both in the area by the Smith machine. But anyway, that dude came in, the main dude, around the same time that the other dude came in, the one, like I said, that was doing the theater that night. And so when he came in, I was on the leg press machine. I even looked at my watch. I was like, this is early for him to be coming in. I noticed recently he's been coming in after 5. I'm like, he's coming in now. He's in all red, looking like Santa Claus. So I was just like, oh God. I'm like, I'm sensing gang stalking activity. I'm sensing it. So anyway, now I get over to the Smith and all this activity is happening over there, and I'm going off in my head about the dude that came in with his child. All of a sudden, of course, he comes over in the all red. He slides over. He goes in the bathroom. The little annoying gang stalk. I don't know what it is. Is there like some sort of like portal in the bathroom? I don't understand why they go in the bathroom and then come out. How is that gang stalking? I don't understand why they do that. It's such an annoying tactic. I don't know why they do it. But he goes in the bathroom, and as soon as I get off from doing a set, all of a sudden he's coming out the bathroom. So I purposely stood there and acted like I didn't see him and blocked the pathway to be a bitch. And then he just walked around me. And then I went on the Smith and I continued doing my thing. And then I noticed, like I said, I was going back and forth in my head about this guy with his child and what seemed like a hazardous environment for the child. I noticed he comes over and all of a sudden he's doing rows. He's doing barbell rows in the area. So I said, oh God, now they have Santa Claus over here gang stalking. That's the only thing I thought. I didn't say anything bad about the dude. He was really giving like Rasta Island Santa Claus vibes because he's in all red. He has the big beard and stuff. So it was just reminding me of like Merry Christmas Island edition. And so I was just like, God, what is this for me? I'm just trying to work out and mind my business. I don't want any issues in here. Like I've purposely been even timing it to try to avoid certain people. And it's like now the people are either coming later or earlier. I'm like, what is going on? And that's kind of what rubbed me the wrong way. Anyway, so I just wanted to defend myself though, y'all, because I really have been being good. I know they see I've been trying not to be reactive about stuff. I really have been. Like there's this Hispanic guy, obvious gang stalker, another one that I timed, that he didn't realize it. I peeped the fact that he came 2 different times. I finally thought the thought, and now all of a sudden I noticed I didn't see him, the last 2 times. But I noticed there were 2 times where I came to the gym at different times and he was there. And, in the area by the Smith machine. So finally, last time when I was in the gym, not yesterday, day before yesterday, he actually was purposely standing in the mirror and blocking the mirror when I got to the heavier sets on the Smith machine, when I get to the 230 and the 250. And so I purposely didn't think anything. I sat down, I started scrolling through my phone. And after a while of standing there and gang stalking, acting like he's staring around and clueless, then he finally moves out the way of the mirror. And I got back to doing my sets. So I'm not having reactions in here anymore. But I've really been trying to not have like reactions. Typically, I would have been thinking stuff in my head about the gang stalking. Like I'm trying to stay clear of these reactions. I really have been trying to behave and stuff, especially since I spend so much time in the gym. But it's just like yesterday was just, I'm PMSing, y'all. My period is literally coming. It's due on the 15th. And I'm already feeling cramps. I'm already PMSing. And so when I saw those 2 guys in there, especially that one with the bite lip thing, that he comes a whole hour before. I literally timed him. He pulls up as soon as I get in the gym. He's sitting in his truck. And then when I get over to the Smith area, he's there all of a sudden. That was what led to me putting the song on repeat. Little subtle thing. Little subtle reaction. I typically don't react first. I'm telling you. It's usually something will happen first and then I'll, whatever. But just that alone to me was enough. Just seeing the fact that he came a whole hour later to the gym. He actually lingered in his truck. And then when I get to the Smith machine, he's out of the truck. You know, so that was what led to me putting the thing on repeat. And then the other dude, like I said, has been doing subtle gang stalking things. I don't know what his tiff with me is. I cannot put it together. Anyway, so that's what it is, y'all. I just wanted to defend myself. I didn't even want to talk about this part of the video, y'all, because it's just like it drains me. I could talk about the workout stuff all day, like, oh, I'm doing this workout and that workout and the science behind it and why I'm doing this and why I'm doing that. And when it comes to talking about the gang stalking stuff, like, it takes me forever to get the video done because it's draining and I just don't even want to talk about it. But so that's what happened yesterday, y'all. So I just wanted to defend myself and, talk about what took place. As usual, just defending myself. I did have a reaction yesterday, and it wasn't super bad. It's not like I was insulting and saying horrible, mean things. I was more so saying valid stuff about him having his child in a hazardous environment, trying to gang stalk, and then him doing the RDLs in my line of vision where I'm having to see his bana. Like, I don't want to see your booty. I don't want to see that. So that was it, y'all. Anyways, I'll talk to you in the next one. Oh, another thing I was supposed to do. At the beginning of this clip, I forgot to do it. At the end of the last clip, I was telling y'all about my workout split, and then I was also telling y'all about the different body types, right? The mesomorph, the ectomorph, and the endomorph. And I was telling you how they try to take dibs at me with the technology about my shoulders and my back. And, that's actually what proves that I'm a mesomorph. So it kind of contradicts themselves, because then they also like to insinuate that I'm one of those, ectomorph body types where, it's like hard for me to build muscle and I'm having to eat all this food and da da da. Anyway, so I want to show you all. If you've seen this video already, you've seen this already. I just want to show you again an example of what it looks like when I'm bodybuilding, right? And in the process of bulking specifically, and let you see my shoulders and everything, because I'm very happy with my body. And then I want to go on Facebook and show you an old video of when I was in my early 20s, because that's more of an accurate depiction of what I look like when I'm not bodybuilding and when I'm not eating in a surplus. Although over the years, I will say in my late 20s, I did gain a little bit more weight than that video you're going to see of me in my early 20s. That's pretty much an accurate depiction of what it looks like when I'm not bodybuilding and eating in a surplus. So let me show you what I'm looking like now, as I've been bodybuilding and eating in a surplus. Trying to insinuate with gang stalking and with the shadow networking AI software, trying to insinuate that I'm overweight, and throwing. See, that's what I was talking about in this video, y'all. Y'all ought to check this video out. I was literally talking about the gang stalking, not the gang stalking, I'm sorry, the shadow networking, what they do with the technology, where they send the subliminal messaging and stuff to insult and come for my self-esteem. And one of the things that they actually like to insinuate too is that I'm overweight, like I'm overdoing it, trying to bulk and trying to gain weight, that I'm having to work so hard to gain weight that I'm now actually overdoing it and I'm becoming overweight. They like to insinuate that, just trying to get in my head, y'all. It's psychological warfare. But anyways, let me check this video out if you get a chance. You'll see me on camera. But let me fast forward to the part where I'm actually showing you, if you haven't seen this already, what I'm looking like now. Overweight, like, I consistently, right? I'd like to show you, like, I'm very slim, I've been working out. I've shown you pictures already. I've been working out consistently, so I've been working out consistently, right? But so y'all see what's going on, right? You see my shoulders, right? So I do have very square, as you can see, shoulders. And my arms, I know you see there's muscle tone there. I don't do much arm workouts. That's just natural. That's just how I'm built. And that's a mesomorphic quality, is where you have like an athletic build and you have the square shoulders and the small waist. You might not be able to tell that I have a small waist because I do have a little bit of meat on the midsection since I've been bulking. That's why they keep trying to come for me in that way. You'll see it when I turn around. I'm about to turn around and show you guys what I'm looking like now. But I do have the classic mesomorphic body type, where you have the big, what they call it is the triangular or Dorito effect, because I have the square shoulders, but then I have a small waist. I have a 26-inch waist, and I didn't even know my waist was that small. It was a surprise recently when I was trying to order a waist trainer. That was when I realized that my waist was small, because I did not know. Anyway, so I have your classic mesomorphic body type. Anyway, so you see the square shoulders. You're going to see my back now, too, when I do the turnaround. You can see that I'm not overweight. Like, I'm not overweight at all. By no stretch of the imagination am I overweight. I'm looking good. So anyways, Anyway, y'all, so you see what I look like, right? That's what I look like now that I'm bulking. I'm very happy with myself, so there's no tearing me down, like, and getting in my head. Now, let me show you guys what it looks like when I'm not, like, on a bulk and gaining weight and intentionally gaining weight and bodybuilding. Let's get it. Again, y'all, this video, as you can see, is throwback from my early 20s, So even when I'm not working out and eating in a surplus, in my later 20s, I have had a little bit more meat on me than in this video. But this is, for the most part, what I look like when I'm not eating in a surplus and when I'm not bodybuilding. With no hesitation. Take a look at my shoulders and my back. I do have very square shoulders, your classic mesomorphic body type, but also look at my long limbs and look at the slenderness of it. So you can understand what I mean when I tell you I'm a mix of body types. I am an exact mix of mesomorphic and ectomorphic body, the mesomorph and ectomorph body type. But I am basically a mesomorph, but I have ectomorph qualities. This that process, this that in the making. That started from the bottom. Please ignore the stupidness I'm doing. I was young, I was immature, I was in my early 20s. I don't do stupid, corny stuff like this anymore. But I want you to understand, I'm just trying to show you what my body type looks like naturally when I'm not eating in a surplus and when I'm not weightlifting. This that opportunity, me in preparation. All I know is when. So you see how, y'all see how skinny I am, right? But I don't have no big, huge back like that. Like, they're acting like I'm a freaking gorilla or silverback or something like that. It's an overdo and it's an over exaggeration. So anyway, that's what's going on, y'all. I just wanted to show y'all. That's it, y'all. So that's all I wanted to show y'all. In comparison to the body typing system that I was talking about. Anyways, y'all, that's it. I'll talk to y'all in the next one. I have to go to the gym today too. I don't, doesn't make sense for me to time it. I know I won't be going super early, but it doesn't make sense to time it. Considering what happened yesterday, it seems like they'll be coming anytime, that I'm in there. So it doesn't really make sense to time it. I'll just go whenever I feel comfortable. I will try not to go too early though, but I'm not really timing it like that. So I do have to get to the gym. And what else? There was something else I need to do today. I need to email my transcripts. And I think one other thing out there when I go out there. But anyway, y'all, so I do have a few things to do today. The day isn't completely gone, though I was sleeping for a lot of it. So anyways, I'll talk to y'all in the next one. I'll keep y'all updated on what's going on with my life. Peace out. Well, in the next clip, you're going to hear me talking about basically some gang stalking that took place with this guy that I used to see, off and on in the gym at the beginning of last year when I first started working out in the gym. As I'm describing how I knew who he was when I first saw him, when I first started working out in the gym, I'm talking about, my familiarity with him and how I, years ago, when I was friends with the cyberstalking, cyberbullying guy, remember him from Facebook, and interactions with that dude. I said I was friends with him, not personally. I mean, on Facebook, him and I were friends on Facebook years ago, and I have the memory of an elephant. By the way, I don't even want to talk about the cyberstalking, cyberbullying guy, but some activity has taken place with that situation in the last week as well. I don't know why they're trying to amp that thing up again, and I'm not really going to give it energy, but because I mentioned it, I do want to kind of briefly just talk about, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if they're doing that to kind of show me that that's partially what's going on with the day job or the retribution or whatever, why it's continuing. I don't know, because I've already apologized about the situation. So it's just like completely random. But first of all, I went in the grocery store, and I saw that guy's brother, right? And I saw the brother look at me, and then he looked down, and I was pretending like I didn't see him. So that happened, and my brain, of course, was ticking. And just a reminder, y'all, when I say my brain is ticking, that means things popping in my head that I can't control, like someone's name or whatever is popping in. So that kind of happened. But I didn't say anything about it. I wasn't going to talk about it in a video or anything. But then I noticed that same day in the evening time, I got a friend request from somebody with that guy's last name. Then the next day, I got another friend request from somebody with that guy's last name. Then with the technology, they started with the AI shadow networking software, sending sensitization and subliminal messaging about that situation. So it's just kind of like random. It's just like, I haven't talked about that thing in months. And ever since apologizing, I took down, certain videos. I have stayed clear of that thing. So I don't really understand what the amp up in that is. But now that I'm mentioning him, right, because I'm talking about this guy that came in and was doing gang stalking stuff, you're going to hear about it in the next clip. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm going to put this clip here at the beginning of the clip where I talk about this guy that came in with his son, or if I'm going to put it at the end of the clip. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to maybe put it, I don't know. I think I'll put it after. So this will probably be the last clip that you're going to hear. But anyway, I just remembered that was a thing. Like, it almost seemed like they were trying to, like, amp that thing up. I have no clue why. It's not anything that I did. But now I feel wary about it because I did kind of briefly mention him now that I'm describing this guy with the child. And so I thought I would mention that. Anyways, y'all, peace out.